Hi there, Reverend Al here. From my cozy summer spot to yours, I hope it's going well for you this week. Have you ever had your palm read? Well, I have. And I've kind of regretted it. I've always been a spiritually curious person, finding value in exploring and understanding various spiritual paths. So when it comes to great mysteries around the unknown, I'm a sucker for it. Now, maybe not as much at this age as I was when in my 30s, because we all vary and change over time. But I remember having my palm read, and the true story is that I had performed a memorial service, and afterwards a member of the family asked if they could read my palm. They just felt this urge to read my palm. And so I acquiesced and said yes because I really had always been curious about having my palm read, wondering what it would reveal. So it revealed several things, and all these years later, like 30 years later, I still remember. Now, that was the time when the AIDS epidemic was in full swing, and I remember having a lot of fear around that and wondering, am I safe, or will I die young like so many others that I knew? So I was kind of curious about that. So when she told me that I would live for a good long time, that was very encouraging. I remember she also told me something about I would go through a very difficult time, but I would come through it okay. Now that's kind of a general thing, but I can assure you, at that time and for years to follow, I wondered what crisis awaits me. I think sometimes that we can get ahead of ourselves. And as a Virgo, much more controlled about my emotions now, but as a type A personality, like to be in control, like to know what's happening, I like to know the future. Sometimes we're just not ready for the future, and sometimes what we don't know can't hurt us. So, I talk a little bit about being in the moment today. I talk a little bit about what we will know in the future, we'll be more prepared for than in the moment. I really like the words written by Melody Beattie in her book entitled Journey of the Heart, and she kind of addresses this. So I'm going to share it with you and hopefully encourage you to be kind of stress free. The Christian Bible and many other religious traditions talk about, why are you worrying? Look at the lilies of the field. They're not worrying. Why should we? Or if God watches a sparrow fall, how much more are we also loved? Or at least equally so. So I invite you to listen to the story again that I read, reminding you or hoping that you too will be and live in the moment. And her piece is entitled, It's Okay Not to Know. Sometimes we don't know what we want, what's next, or what we think our lives will look like down the road. That's okay. If the answer is I don't know, then say it. Say it clearly and be at peace with not knowing. Sometimes the reason we don't know is that what's coming is going to be very different from anything we've experienced before. Even if we knew, we couldn't relate to it because it's that new and that different. It's a surprise. Sometimes the reason we don't know is that it would be too difficult, too confusing for us right now. It would take us out of the present moment, cause us to worry and fuss about how we could control it or what we have to do to make it happen. Knowing would make us afraid, put us in overload, take us away from now. Sometimes our souls know, but it's just not time for our conscious minds to know yet. Sometimes knowing would take us out of the very experience we need to go through to discover the answer we're looking for. And sometimes the process of learning to trust, the process of going through an experience and coming to trust that we will ultimately discover our own truth, is more important than knowing. The process of moving from what we don't know to what we are to learn is a process that can be trusted. It's how we grow and change. It's okay not to know. It's okay to let ourselves move into knowing. The lesson is trusting that we will know when it's time. I invite you, like me, to work daily at not getting ahead of ourselves. That the knowledge that we will learn today will be sufficient for us to face tomorrow. Be that issues around COVID-19, be that physical issues we face, be that financial hardships we're in, be that loneliness that we're struggling with, be that something that's going on in our personal lives that is just too personal and too scary to talk about. Be in the moment. Take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Put one foot ahead of the other, and we will know what the next step will be in its time. Sending lots of pastoral love your way. Amen.